Hi everyone. A few of you have had questions about how to complete the timeline assignment, so I just wanted to give you this quicker and dirtier tutorial, hopefully. Just a quick and dirty tutorial to show you where to go for these things. So we're starting out here in the timeline tab. You can follow the learning module links also to the timeline tab. From here you can complete everything that you need to do. So for example, this top link right here will take you to the class timeline. Here we are. So you'll notice that it opened a new tab for us. I'm going to go back to the original tab. You also will find the timeline assignment instructions here. And so I wanted to open these just so that I can remind you to read through these for the standards that you need to meet for each of these timeline assignments. I think most of you have already found them. But there is the longer video tutorial here. There's also another link to the class timeline. But as you scroll down right here, there's an example that I created. And I wanted to pull this up just so that I can show you, once you've gone to the course timeline and put in your placeholder, you want to do all of your work first in a Word document. This is a Google document, something like that, so that you can upload your work to Blackboard as well as to our course timeline on Tiki-Taki. So I have all those things open. I'm going to go back to tikitaki.com, the course timeline. This little box appears when you first log in. I'm going to click continue. What you need to do is log in. So there's a little login button right here. Click that and then enter the login information that is in the timeline assignment instructions. So I showed you where the example is. Here's your username and password. We're all using the same one. So please be kind and cognizant of that. So NM history, the password, you click login, and then you need to scroll down just slightly and click the words New Mexico history that appear under the My Timelines heading. Once you've done that, you're back here, the same place you were at, except this time you have this admin box. The admin box is what allows you to edit the timeline and add your posts. So when you want to go and put in a placeholder, what you will do is click this Create New Story. If you need help, it has this pop-up help information. If you don't want that in your way, you can click this button to turn it off. I'm going to click Create New Story. Here's where you place your title. So that's just the name of the person or the event that you are going to enter. Here in the Enter Story Info, you write your name. You can add a category. None of them have been added yet, so we won't worry about that. Then you want to put the time. Make sure that you don't leave it in BC, but you switch to AD, especially if we're working on the more current units. Unit 2 is the only one you'll have any information in BC. So I'm going to pretend that I'm doing Pancho Villa's raid, even though someone's already done that. But I'm going to, well, actually not for this class. So Pancho Villa's raid took place on March 9th, 1916. So I have to enter that. I have to actually click on the calendar and then click confirm for it to take the date. That one was mostly just one day, so I'm going to click save. Actually, since I know what I'm doing, I'm going to add Villa's raid on Columbus. So just again to show you what we're doing here. Let me scroll over to show you what has now happened. So here at the end, 1916, there's my placeholder. That means that I've claimed that topic. And I will, I messed up, but I will also delete this so that you can do this one when we get to, I believe it's Unit 5. So going back over here, this is the example I gave for the longer version of this tutorial. But it's the same thing. You'll want to go through, put in your outside source of information. So I would look for a web source on Pancho Villa's raid. I would look for an image or a video to represent Villa's raid. Then I would type up my entry on that. Make sure that you put your entry in your own words and that you have a paragraph that explicitly explains the historical significance of the event or the person that you're talking about. If you have questions about that, you can look at the last video announcement I posted, or you can ask me some questions via email or Twitter or text message. So again, this is how you submit to the timeline. Once you want to go back and enter your information, you'll just go to the admin button, find your entry, click on it, click edit, and then you will go to extra info and you will type, or actually probably paste, your info here. So you'll just copy everything from your document over to this full text box and click save. For the media, you'll click add new media. You will paste the URL of the image or the video that you found. If it's a video, you'll have to click this box and choose video. But again, when you do an image, make sure you right click on the image itself and then choose copy image address or similar, so that you get the right URL. Sometimes people have been copying the URL for the whole website rather than for the image. So make sure that you get the image, not the website. Once you've done that, you click save. You'd have to actually enter a source. And then also I wanted to show you that when you have the URL for, I'll just use these since they don't relate to Via's RAID, but just to show you. So this is the link to my outside source at scientificamerica.com. This is for the Bering Strait Land Bridge, not for Pancho Villa's RAID, but you'll get the idea. So I paste the URL there. Let me go over and grab my media. This one's a video, again, for the Bering Strait Land Bridge, but not Pancho Villa's RAID, so add new media. I'm going to paste, I'm going to change to video, and I'm going to click save. Let's see, I think I added extra space in there, so let me see if that makes a difference. Maybe that video is not there anymore. So this is a good example to show you that if you have, let me get rid of the admin box, and I'm going to look at my actual entry now. Click more. You'll notice this video isn't there anymore. If you paste your video and it doesn't work, or you paste your image and it just opens up a black box, that may mean that you either grabbed the wrong URL or that you need to choose a different one. Unfortunately, for some reason, not all images, videos work with Tiki-Taki. So if that's the case, go and find a different one. When you click that Find Out More box, that's where the link that I pasted in the link box comes into play. So this is my outside source. Hopefully that's helpful for showing you how to post to Tiki-Taki. And again, I'll delete this Bill's Raid on Columbus thing that I typed in here. Going back over here to the timeline tab then, as you scroll down, you'll find these submission links. This is where you will upload the files that you created to do your work on Tiki-Taki. So remember, you have to post both to the course timeline on Tiki-Taki and to these submission boxes. So I'm going to do a Unit 3 timeline submission. Again, just make sure you're in the correct unit. If you use the links that go directly from the learning module, they will take you to the correct unit. Here's where I will go and I will browse my computer, and there's the files coming up, to find the file for the document that I created. So for this one, for example, so see, I will find this file and I will upload it here, and then I will click submit. I'm not going to do that just for the sake of time. When you want to do, that was for the ID step. When you want to do your connection step, you will have to probably click OK that you have unchanged or unsaved changes. But you use this table of contents. You click timeline connection step, click OK, and then it's the same thing. You will have written your paragraph in a Word document or similar, and then you will browse your computer and paste it in here. And that's how you submit to Blackboard. Just a little more about the connection step. Hopefully this will actually be shorter than the original tutorial. A little more on the connection step. To do that, you want to go back to the timeline itself and read through other people's posts. So you want to see, somebody posted on Mexican independence. That sort of relates to Pancho Villa's raid, but not really. The only way it relates is just because they're both topics about what was going on in Mexico that related to New Mexico history in certain ways. So I find that there's not really a good connection here. So what I'm going to do when I write my connection is I'm just going to choose something that didn't appear on the timeline, but that does connect to Pancho Villa's raid. For example, I'm going to talk about Maud Wright. who was the American living in Chihuahua that was kidnapped by Villa and forced to go along with him during the raid. And her husband was killed in the process, and her child, her baby, was taken to live briefly with one of her Mexican workers on the ranch. So I chose that to write my connection because she directly had something to do with Pancho Villa and the raid on Columbus. Make sure that your connections are such that they're not comparisons. I don't want to compare Pancho Villa to Billy the Kid, for example, because while that comparison can be insightful, that's just not what we're doing with this step. We're trying to find connections to other people, places, and events that hopefully appear on the timeline. But again, if they don't try to make a tenuous connection. Instead, just choose something that wasn't posted. So I hope this is helpful in terms of the kind of logistics of this, what the assignment's about. Please let me know if you have any more questions.